What's up, everybody, and welcome back to AyyScare Plays Front Office Football 8, episode 103. And we are looking at our third season here, taking over the Jacksonville Cougars. And we're looking to get better than 6-10, hopefully make our first playoffs this year. So before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to Brian. Brian has been commenting on my first two episodes, giving me some good pointers and clearing up some of the different mistakes I've made. So if you've seen the first two episodes and you haven't looked in the comments, go over and check out the comments because he includes a lot of good stuff there. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into this. So I've looked at our stats a little bit, and I think that we kind of already know what our weak spots are. Our weak spots are definitely quarterback. Quarterback is definitely an area that we need to get better in. And then our secondary. If we look at a dialogue that we actually haven't looked at yet, but I will show it here. I believe it is under game day and then under scouting report. There's actually two different dialogues I want to look at here, but this is one of them. So this gives just a quick kind of overview of what the best strengths are of your different players. And if we look at our front line, you'll see here our left side, our front line overall is very highly scouted, but the left side is considered our good pass protection side, center and right guard, good block, and then right tackle, good block power. So if it were me looking at that front line, I would kind of expect kind of our center to our right side to be our good running side. And it's actually the opposite. We ran an equal amount of rushes from the left and the right, and our right was significantly worse. And then our middle was okay, but an average of 3.6 is just terrible. So the rushing game is struggling, even though our running backs seem decent. And then if we look at... Let me see if I can find this again here. Roster strengths. This just kind of reinforces what we were talking about before. So if we look at quarterback, we're considered 5th worst for quarterbacks. And that's based on starters. If you look over at reserves, which is basically our backups, we're also bottom of the barrel. So no good there. Running backs, we're in the top 10, so we should be okay there. Fullbacks were in the top 10. Tight ends were basically right in the middle, but we have that young tight end that should develop for us. Wide receivers were somewhere around 10th. Centers around 10th. Guards in the middle. Tackles around 10th. So really quickly, since that's our overall offense, this does prove that our overall offensive line, while it's not top notch in any of those positions, it's basically top 10 across the board, which means we should have a very strong offensive line. Our receiving core is mainly one guy right now, but again, he pushes us to be basically a top 10 for wide receivers. Tight ends, this one should increase for us with our rookie. So really our only weakness right now on offense is that quarterback position. We scroll down here, punters, we are near the bottom. Kickers, that rookie we drafted our first season is pulling us up. It looks like he's considered the 6th best overall kicker right now, so that's pretty dope. Defensive ends, kind of expected here. We're 2nd in the league. Defensive tackles, we're somewhere around 6th. Inside linebackers, we are top by a long shot. Not only do we have starters at 100, we have reserves at 100. So we're A-okay there. Outside linebackers, we're around the middle. Cornerbacks, we're top 3. Safeties, we are the absolute bottom team. So when we look at our stats here, let's look over at our almanac team summary. A couple of things kind of stand out. And if you look down here at our defense, yards per catch, we're 2nd at 9.6. So that's decent. Our Players, though, look at this. So Kremers, even with the other inside linebacker that is considered a very high rating, he's still gotten almost 90 tackles. So he's still definitely living up to what we expected. And that defensive end that we were hoping would kind of break out here, look at this. 56 tackles, 25 assists, 10 sacks, 24 hurries, 24 quarterback knockdowns. This guy has officially kind of cemented himself as a top defensive end for us. DJ Martin, the guy that we got off of free agency, I believe it was our first season, has also had another 1,000-yard season for us. He's become a fan favorite. So another guy that we will probably be sticking with moving forward here. With that, let's go ahead and get started with our season. End season, yes. So one other thing that I've been thinking about since the last time that I recorded here is I think our offensive coordinator might be an issue. He's had two quarterbacks that were rated. One was, I think, a 49. The other was a 41, which neither are outstanding. But considering how bad the offense was under both of them, I think I'm going to be replacing him. Our head coach, again, his stats look so great, but there's definitely parts of this that are not working outside of just the quarterback. So I am going to make some coaching changes this year. I'm going to go ahead and finish negotiations, and we're going to hop into the staff draft. So this is our head coach. So ours is still considered second, but if we look here, we have another guy that is considered a better option for us. When it comes to that experience thing, though, never been a head coach. He does have 8 years experience as an offensive coordinator. It was an offensive coordinator, all of those. And his team was basically 500 across the board. I feel like we have to make some changes. His primary focus is tight ends, and we do have that young tight end. So let's go for it. He's also offensive style actually doesn't matter too much for him since he's our head coach. All right, we're trying it. We're switching up here and going Conrad Tanner. All right, our offensive coordinator is still considered top on this board. Is there one that's rated for QBs here? This is the only guy that's a primary in QB. And he doesn't have the best at player development, but he does have decent play calling, decent scouting ability, and interviewing. I'm just going to kind of look through these real quick. I really want somebody that is probably going to be a little bit heavier on the run game for us to hopefully be able to bolster that for us. This guy's not great at player development, but his play calling and scouting and interviewing are all outstanding. He does have some experience. He's considered balanced, which actually probably should work in our favor. All right, we're making this adjustment as well. We're switching over to Brent Newton as our offensive coordinator. Now our defense has basically been stacking up, and he's considered still the best by a long shot, so we're keeping him. All right, so one thing that I did not know that Brian in the comments let me know is that your assistant coach is good for scouting special teams. So when it comes to like our kicker and punter. And if we look here, our scouting ability is terrible. Now, we drafted the kicker that seems to be working out for us. He's a high-rated kicker. So I'm not too worried about that at this point. For punter, we'll just bring in either a rookie or a proven starter. So with the rest of his stats there, I think I'm going to go ahead and keep him. Let's go ahead and skip that. Strength coach is only considered third now. So this guy's really good at strength training, not so much at conditioning. This guy is basically 50 on each. And this guy is 50 on each. Okay, let's go with the top rated guy. All right, so we've kind of overhauled our staff, which hopefully is going to be working in our favor here. And let's set ticket pricing. And let's look and see if there's anybody that we should cut real quick. All right. So we're losing Sinclair. We're losing Copeland. And we're losing Dave Whiting. But the majority of our team is going to be sticking together here. And just to show you guys, Sinclair, if you remember last episode, I said, we'll see how he pans out because he was asking to be a top paid corner. If we look at his stats, dropped in tackles, dropped in assists, dropped in interceptions, dropped in defended. He literally dropped across the board. So even though he's still very highly rated, I'm happy we didn't pay him what he was asking for. He'll probably end up going with another team, but he is a player that I will probably put a bid on. I'm not going to bother franchising him, but he could work out. All right, so let me scroll down here, take a look at down here if there's anybody that's been with the team a while that is probably getting overpaid. Doesn't really look like it. Yeah, I think we're handling our money situation actually very well here. We're at 161 million to spend. 32 under contract. So we are short on a number of positions this year due to retirements and players leaving us on contracts. So we will have to fill in specific roles, which we haven't really had to do through the first two episodes. Let's also look real quick under transaction log, there it is, and just see if anybody retired on our team. Caleb Shepard did retire. He didn't do well for us really the last two seasons, so not a big thing, but he did actually have a very decent career in Jacksonville. So sad to see him go, but probably time to replace him anyway. So let's go ahead and begin free agency. Now, let's take a quick look at the draft. All right, once again, I'm not really seeing any quarterback on this top. Let's also check. We should have 2 first-round picks this year since we traded away last year. Yeah, so we have 8 overall and 24 overall. We then also have 2 in the second round, 2 in the third round. So we should get a decent overhaul here in our amateur draft. Let's go through a little bit of free agency, and then we'll interview some people. All right. So this is where I have to re-sign some of our players. Let's take a look at how this kicker's actually done. Wow, even though he's really highly rated, he actually hasn't done all that well. Hold up. he only kicked 69.8% last year. He's been almost perfect for points after, which is a good stat to have, but wait a second here. So, what? Oh, that's 40 plus. Okay, I thought that was within 40 yards. Okay, so 40 plus, he only kicked 50%. 11 of those were from 50 plus, where he only hit 3. All right, I'm not touching him. We'll give him one more season to see what happens. I gotta re-sign Kremers here. Let's go ahead and negotiate. And once again, let's pull up our information on franchise player salaries, just to have it as a decent starting block. So this guy's basically been a top inside linebacker his entire career. Inside linebacker. Oh, well, I say that. And he is asking for a crap ton. Okay. Let's wait on that for a second. Center. Let's see what he's asking for. He's not asking for much at all. No, he's not even asking for a top 20 pay. So easily re-sign him. We have the money. We should probably re-sign some of these guys down here. I'm just going to kind of go through, make sure that none of them are asking for too much. This guy's asking for like a top 10 at the end of his contract. It's fine with me. Here's one of our... So we're going to look at this in a little bit more detail here in a second. This is our outside linebacker. He's asking for absolutely nothing. Yep. And he's actually done decently for us. So happy with that one. Running back. All right. Is this the guy that was on our... Yes, this is the guy that first season when we took over, he had just come off of a 1,200-yard season and looked like he was killing it. And then he's gotten significantly worse every year. What's he asking for? So in the end here, he's looking at basically to be like a top 20. With how bad his last season was, it worries me. I'm going to let him ride it out for now. Punter, he's on 1 year left, but he might also retire, so I'll just leave that. We'll go ahead and re-sign this nose tackle, as long as he's not asking for too much. Nope, not bad at all. Let's re-sign this outside linebacker, asking for almost nothing. And this other outside linebacker. Perfect. And let's also re-sign this safety, since he's also our secondary leader. Yeah, let's go ahead and sign him. He is at least one piece of our safety puzzle here. All right. So our linebacker situation is going to be interesting. We have the Sean Kremers, who's been absolutely outstanding throughout his entire career. We have Johnny McClay, who was I think it was our 5th round pick. Yeah, 5th round pick, our first season, and he's absolutely killing it. We then also have this guy, Scotty Conley, who is still considered a 56 good. He probably hasn't gotten a chance to start too much. Yeah, he really didn't start at all last year. But this is kind of one of those big what do we do situations. With how much Kremers is asking for, because if we look at this again, right? He's asking for $32 million signing. He's asking for $26 million on top of that his first year, down to $36 million. If we look at the top paid inside linebacker in the league right now, $21 million. So this dude is looking to absolutely destroy the current franchise values of inside linebackers. This is going to be a case where, could I pay this guy? Yes, we have the cap space. But with how much he's looking to get paid, and the fact that we have one guy that's considered very good and one that's considered good already on contract for at least the next 2 seasons, I don't think I'm going to re-sign him. If this ends up being another downhill season, I might actually look at trading him before the trade deadline, since I'm sure another team would love to have him. But with how much he's looking to get paid, I'm not looking to pay that much. And you can see after we re-signed some of our other assets here, we're already down to 125. So that's not happening. All right, that was round 1. Great sheet. All right. So 3 of our players are actually in the top here. We let go one of our defensive tackles, one of our tackles, and the Sinclair, the cornerback. So let me really quickly look at this. The game says we need defensive tackle, quarterback, running back. Sounds about right to me. We also need safety. All right. So for stage 2, maybe we'll actually re-sign Copeland. He's asking for not much of anything. He basically was like a half starter for us, and he did decently. He was never a star, but with the amount that he's asking for, it's not really of concern to me. I'm going to go ahead and just even out some of these numbers to hopefully make sure we get him back. And let's see if he signs. That's actually another big question here. There is this guy, Casey Lofton, who we might be able to get as our quarterback, since once again, it doesn't look like there's a quarterback in the draft that is outstanding. Admittedly, his stats are actually decent. He has great timing, good at deep passes, can scramble. We'll look a little bit more into him in a second. Let's go ahead and finish this first round. All right, we were able to go ahead and get we were able to get Copeland back, so that's good. Let's go into the gray sheet, round 3. Just for fun, let's see how much Sinclair is now asking for. Yep, see, he had a down year. He's still asking for a lot, don't get me wrong, but he's now much more in line with a, top 5 cornerback that would probably be signing this year, as opposed to the top. What's our cornerback situation looking like? I need to remind myself. So we're losing Sinclair. He might be worth re-signing. I'm going to just put in an offer for a little bit less than what he's asking for and see if we can get him. $35, $22 million. Let's do $27 million. And we'll just increase $5 million directly a year. Oops. All right, so in the end, I'm offering him 5 years, 195. I'm actually going to lower this. 5 years, 190. With how good his ratings are, even though he didn't have a great season last year, I think that he's potentially going to be worth it still. Let's see. Nope, he went to another team for about almost 30 million more than I offered. So good to know. Our computer actually went in and re-signed one of our guards. Normally if a computer does this, that normally means that they re-signed somebody already on our team, which is the case here. So nothing to worry about there. Let's take a closer look now at this quarterback that's on the board, since he looks like he's actually the only quarterback. Yep, he's the only quarterback that is decent hitting free agency this year. All right. He's only started one full season. In that season, he went for 3,200 yards, 27 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Never had a 300-yard game, but he did have a rating of a 93. This season, he started almost every game, and 15 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 90. So I guess he was a backup in... Ooh, look at this, actually. Wait a second, does he have a Super Bowl ring? I'm not actually sure where that shows in 8. In 7, it used to be up here. But if we look here, look at this. In 2069, when he had that awesome season, they made playoffs. He played in all 3 games and posted a 96 in the postseason. This guy's probably not asking for almost anything, since it looks like he basically rode the bench last year. Yeah, he's not asking for much at all. What happened to the quarterback that we got last season? He's still with us, right? Yeah, so Riley Mathers. This guy did not play well for us last year. This could be the offensive coordinator. I'm keeping that in the back of my mind. What I think I should do is I should bring in that other quarterback. So let's go back to the gray sheet. Let's give that guy an offer. I'm going to offer him more than he's asking for because I do specifically want this guy. Not 100 million though. We'll do 10 million signing. We'll do 8 million first year, 10 million second year, and we'll just make it a 2-year deal. 28 million for 2 years. Please, 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 please sign with me. Please sign with me. All right, we got him. All right. So now we have kind of 2 quarterbacks that are probably going to be in a little bit of a battle with one another. But this, once again, hopefully relieves us from the fact that there's no outstanding quarterback in the draft. All right, cool. Let's go to the gray sheet. We'll do probably 2 more rounds and then we'll switch over to the rookie draft. How much money do I have left here? Down to 92. Are there any decent free safeties? Okay. Here's a free safety. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull him in. For a safety. Yeah, so he's basically just asking to, like, for starter salary here. 10 million, 8 million, 10 million, 10 million. That looks good to me. We'll see if he signs with us. That should boost our safety game. And it looks like he did. Yep, he did. Awesome. Let's take a quick look-sees here. Let's look at our cap here. So now it actually says our biggest need is a reserve fullback, which is interesting. Then it says we need defensive tackle and cornerback. I would agree, now that we've lost Sinclair, we probably do need a cornerback. I think that our offensive weapons should be good. We have DJ Martin, who's like a top wide receiver in the league. We have the tight end that we drafted last year, who will hopefully get to kind of full potential this year. Or we actually drafted him. Yeah, we drafted him last year. We have the fullback that we drafted the first season that we were together, and he's panning out. We have the running back, which is kind of a big question mark for me. But based on everything we've seen, we know that he can be a decent starter. His stats still say, when we look at this, like, I shouldn't say stats, when we look at his scouting, he's still good enough. He should be able to be a starter in this league. So I think that this is going to come down to the offensive coordinator. Let's really quickly look over at attitude here. Only one potential conflict. There's actually a number of affinities, which should help us out. The one livid player is off our team anyway. This guy's angry because he's not starting. Let's actually go ahead and... Can I release this guy? Doesn't look like I can... Oh yeah, I can. That's fine. It's almost nothing. I don't want any kind of really pissed off players right now. All right. Yeah, so we do still need to fill in another tight end, another wide receiver. And now, through free agency, we're actually basically free to pick in the rookie draft, which should make this fun. Let's go ahead and look at the rookie draft at this point. So as a quick reminder, we are picks 8 and 24. In order to try to nail this draft, I am probably going to interview a bunch of players around this pick and a bunch around this pick, and then make everything else just a wild card guess. Because if I can nail pick 8 and pick 24, that should boost our team to probably a height that we haven't been to yet. So let's take a look here. So one tip that Brian gave me in the comments is that by sorting by grade, it's probably a better indication of how good the player kind of actually is, as opposed to using adjust it, which is what I normally have done in the past. So I'm going to mess around with that a little bit here. I'm going to kind of compare them. But I'm going to be honest, I'm so used to looking at the adjusted score and kind of comparing them that I'm not 100% confident this is going to work out for me. So this Patrick Louis guy, probably not going to last to pick 8. But let's interview him. He's considered overrated, which means he might fall to pick 8. I am going to red him. He's not considered very overrated. His combine numbers are great, so let's stick with that. What is our defensive end game looking like? I know that we have the guy Jermaine that's killing it. Oh, we have another guy that's also killing it. All right. Not going to go for a defensive end. This is probably a point where we should look at cornerbacks since we lost Sinclair. And it looks like Cody and Oscar. Are they the same two here? They are. Let's go ahead and interview both of them. Very overrated. That's no good. Let's set him as a blue. And overrated. Okay. Well, at least he's not very overrated. We can bolster our line again. I feel like that's not needed right now. We don't have any outstanding stars on our line, but I don't feel like using 8th overall to boost our line is going to be a good pick right now. We have let's go ahead and interview this quarterback. He's considered as scouted and kind of above average in most things. He's not a scrambling quarterback, but that's not end of the world. Once again, his accuracy is kind of in that low area, which I always try to avoid. But we have the two kind of journeyed quarterbacks that are going to be fighting for the starting position this year. Maybe we can get this guy. He's not considered overrated. And maybe he will become our starter in 2 or 3 seasons. Or he's going to fall flat on his face. It's probably going to be one of the two. I'm going to leave that as an option, especially if Patrick Louis is gone. To be honest, I will probably go this quarterback as opposed to Oscar Stevens, just because that's going to give us a little bit, hopefully, of a longer play in terms of 5 to 10 years down the road. All right, let's look at a couple of other top options here. Here's another wide receiver. 6 foot, 189. He's already 24. That's a little bit of a red flag for me. Let's not interview him. Here's a cornerback. Not the kind of bars that I want. For cornerback, I want like really high either man or zone, or bump and run. Really, if any of those were super high, that would be great. Bad play diagnosis, bad at interceptions. Not the kind of guy I'm going to be going for with a top, 8 or 24 pick. Here we go. He's considered very overrated, though. That sucks. All right. This is the kind of guy not reaching for him at 8, but if he's by chance still sitting here at pick 24, I might definitely go this guy. Not only is he above average or average on everything defensive related, he's also probably going to become our return man. So let's go ahead and mark him. Tommy Fuller, another guy probably worth interviewing, considered very overrated. So let's mark him as a blue. Oops, wrong person there. All right, there's another quarterback down here. To be honest, that actually isn't terrible. His medium passes aren't that great, but his screen short, long, and deep are all actually decent. And his accuracy is above what we normally see with a lot of these players. And look at this. Our coaching staff says very underrated. We're marking him as red. That does bring up a big question as to, should I use 8th overall for this guy when I can probably get this guy at 24? Let's look at the graded option. Now, some of the bad teams are going to reach for a quarterback. It's going to happen. So I'm not sure that both of them will last until pick 24. All right, let's get a couple more interviews in this range, and we'll figure out where to go from there. Ooh, look at this nose tackle. Really good pass rushing. And he's considered very underrated. Another great player to interview. What is up with the Sinclairs? Here's a Zach Sinclair. Has his ups and downs in the scouting, but let's go ahead and interview him. Very overrated. We'll skip on him. Now I'm actually forgetting. What did it say we needed? Defensive tackle. Okay. We only technically need to fill a tight end and a wide receiver. We can do that in late free agency, though, if we need it. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to just look at quarterbacks specifically and see if there's one maybe down here that, again, could ride the bench for a year or two, and we could get him in a late round and hope that he develops more. Now, players down here, they're never going to have, super ridiculous stats or scouts, but like this guy, even though the bottom half are super good, how are you going to have a quarterback that's rated this bad on all of his main passes? Not happening for me. This guy's actually, he's a scrambling quarterback, which always skews things a little bit. Let's go ahead and interview him. Very overrated, so we're not going with him. And then let's just, for fun, look at two guys here. Let's do the two guys that have the best 40 times. Okay. And this guy had actually the best 40 time of any quarterback in this draft. You know what? I mean, I kind of feel like this guy could potentially be almost like a Lamar Jackson, right? This guy has ridiculous speed. He's really good at reading defenses, sensing the rush, timing, third down passing. This guy, I think that he could fall into kind of like that Lamar Jackson role in terms of the way that we could run our offense. It's considered hard to read, but this is a guy that will probably maybe not even get drafted with how far down he is. So he could be a player that we could reach for maybe in round 6 or 7. All right. I am happy with that preview that we got there. Let's go ahead. We'll skip remaining stages of free agency. All right, here we go, guys. We'll set it on fast for the first 8 picks. All right. Athens is going with a cornerback. Minnesota's going with defensive end. Green Bay, running back. Carolina's going with safety. Arizona, tackle. Denver, they went with the wide receiver, all right. And Anchorage is going with quarterback. All right. So that, I feel like Anchorage did reach on him. Like I said, I was probably not going to go with him at 8, especially since we found some of those other guys further down. But at this point, for me, I think that the answer is clear. I think that we should probably go Oscar Stevens, even though he's considered overrated. We don't need a defensive end, but we didn't interview this guy, which means it's a little bit of a more of an unknown, but look at those stats. Let me just take a quick look here, because we have that guy for 3 more years. This guy for, I mean, I don't think that bringing in a defensive end right now is the smartest thing, even though I think that that guy's a complete steal. Yeah. Will Everett be there at 24? Probably not. All right. Let's... Yeah, I mean, this guy across the board seems to be a decent option, even though we're considering him overrated. We're going with him. Resume, and we're going to go faster now. guard, wide receiver, tackle, running back, tight end, wide receiver, tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, inside linebacker, tight end, defensive end, wide receiver, running back. All right. So, Everett did fall. That being said, he is considered very underrated. When's my second round? So I have a second round pick in, give or take, about 15 picks. I'm hoping that he falls to me in the second round. If he doesn't, I'm going to go for probably that rushing quarterback in a super late round. For now, I am going to grab... Why is this dude still on the board? The fact that he is still on the board leads me to believe that other teams scouted him and did not like him. His stats are ridiculous, though. Man, 1 second here. Maybe I do bring him in and just, what are these guys? Like, this guy's endurance is over 50. This guy has decent endurance. But you know what? Considering how far he's fallen, let's take him. I'm doing it. The fact that he fell this far is kind of a red flag, but I don't think that we can really be blamed for taking him there. All right, so we interviewed this nose tackle who could really bolster our pass rush, or this quarterback is still sitting here. Come on, game, you're not making this too easy for me. Wow, so many of these guys have ridiculous stats this year. Ooh, all right. I'm going to go with one of the guys that I know was considered very underrated by my coaching staff. I'm going to bolster our defensive line again. Maybe I'm stacking that too much. Everett fell again. All right, let's go ahead and grab him. We're on the board again here. Let's see. What do we have any? I think we need a tight end and a wide receiver, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So let's go ahead and grab those. Maybe we'll land a cool pickup here. Best 40-yard dash, at least remaining, and best agility. Really good at getting downfield and not much else. All right. Let me really quickly look at DJ Martin. Yeah, so this guy is going to be our main ball hog anyway. Our tight end is really good at getting downfield. That gives us kind of two deep threats, which hopefully will then also help with our running game a little bit. All right, we'll go for it. Tight end. Another great blocking tight end. Let's do it. That should bolster our running game a little bit. All right, this draft, we'll see how these players are actually being rated here shortly, but I am very happy with this draft so far. At this point, we are basically looking for diamonds in the rough. Great man-to-man defense, at least from the scout. Let's go ahead and select him. Let's take a look at maybe a new guard to throw into the mix. See if there's any tackles. That's actually a decent tackle right there. Ooh, look at this. Really good blocking strength and around 50 on both. What's our tackle situation again? Yeah, we should probably get at least one more tackle, one more maybe center, just for backup purposes. Let's go ahead and do that. Really good blocking, but not great on strength. That's hopefully something that our strength coach can help out with, though. Not great at endurance, but if he's like somebody that we bring in for like goal line and things like that, maybe. We'll go with it. Let's see if that one quarterback is still there. Sherman is still there. Let's go ahead and nab him here in the 7th round. Complete crapshoot. Chances are he won't amount to anything, but I think that he has the potential based on his stats. All right. We should now be able to see our rookies. All right. So our defensive end that we brought in, hopefully it looks like he's going to be very high rated. Same with our nose tackle. One of the cornerbacks that we went with, I think he was our 1st round if I remember. Yeah, he was 1.8. So, you know, I'm disappointed that our 1.8 is that low, but he's still going to be hopefully considered good. And if you look down here, the tackle and center both end up right around 50. This looks like another great draft for us. Let's see. Late free agency. I think that we need a long snapper, if I remember correctly. Let's see what else we need here. Yeah, so we need a long snapper, and then we'll just get some kind of rookie talent that slipped through the draft. So I'm going to go ahead and actually offer to this punter, which I know sounds ridiculous, but since we already have a punter, if we can get a better punter in, I'm all for it. Let them battle it out during the preseason training camp. I'm not going to spend money on another defensive lineman. Our defensive line should be absolutely stacked. Tight end that we probably don't need. Middle linebacker, how many do we have right now? We have 3, but we generally run a 3-4, so we'll go ahead and offer this guy something. Now, in my experience, when it comes to rookies, the computers almost never do a signing bonus. So normally I just throw like $1 million in there just to make 100% sure, but it's probably not required, to just be quite honest. Let's bring in some of these other corners just so that we have the option in case either somebody gets hurt or our draft pick doesn't work out. Offer these guys $500,000 signing bonuses. A proven outside linebacker. Let me remind myself what our outside linebackers are rated as. Yeah, they're both considered in the 50s. So, could he be worth having on our bench, though? He actually has really high play diagnosis. Man. No. I'm gonna let that pass. Here's another free or far safety. We didn't draft one, so I am gonna go for getting him in case the other guy that we got doesn't work out. I'm going to go for like only a 2-year deal on this guy though. Let's nab and center. Terrible blocking strength now. Here's a running back. Let's go ahead and grab him. And we need that long snapper, so let me sort here. Go down to long snappers. Oh, look at that, 96. Exactly what I like seeing. You know what? I don't want any problems here, so I'll offer you that $500,000 as well. All right. Let's see how these line up. We got the punter, we got the middle linebacker, we got the long snapper, perfect. Let's see. It looks like we signed everybody else. We're down to 34. Let's see if there's anybody else left on that free agency towards the top that may be worth it. There's this defensive end who, once again, is just... Now, he's already unhappy. I have a feeling that if we brought him in, he probably would not see starting time for us. So I will leave him for somebody else. Here's another tackle. Let's offer him something to hopefully be a bench player for us for now. Backup. And let's bring in Rob Little. Ooh, look at this Rob Littleton. Those are very good. See, so right now, 2 teams have put in bids on him, but they haven't put any signing bonus. They're just giving him exactly what he wants. So I'm going to go ahead and give him $500,000 more. And we signed them both. All right. That's going to be it for free agency this year. One thing I'm not 100% sure how it's handled now. In 7, when we get to training camp, which is what we're about to do, you used to set kind of a schedule for what they were going to be doing throughout their days. It was very basic, but I do kind of miss that. That seems to be kind of a fun thing. Maybe it's that I have a setting off in 8. I'm not 100% sure. All right, preseason, guys. Simulate through preseason. That didn't look too pretty. All right. Now, one thing I did mess up on that I believe was something that Brian corrected me on is if I look at my my team here, right now this starting lineup is actually my starting lineup from preseason, not from the actual first game. So I'm going to go ahead and sim 1 week and then take a look at our starting lineup. All right, we started out the season 30-17. That looks good. All right. Casey Lofton, he's the guy that we brought in this year through free agency. So he did beat out he beat out Riley Mathers for the starting job. So that is good to know. Wow, our kicker's been upgraded to an 84. That's awesome. It doesn't look like either of those quarterbacks that we signed are planning to work out right now, but we'll see how that goes. All right. So let's just look at this real quick. We are kind of weak on our wide receivers, especially outside of DJ Martin. Gosh, look at that. Look at that defensive front, though. Very good, 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 very good, very good, good. Secondary is still lacking, but man, that front seven. All right, we'll go ahead and sim a couple more weeks here, see how our team's doing. We're at 2-0. 2-1, but we only lost by a field goal. We're 4-2. All right. We'll sim week 7. All right, we're at 4-3. Let's take a look at things since this is when the trade deadline is. All right, it doesn't look like we had too many injuries so far. It doesn't look like we have anybody on IR. This is something else that Brian mentioned in the comments. The injury setting that I selected is probably significantly too low for the being kind of compared to the NFL, but I didn't want to change it after I had already started the series. But that is something to note. So if you make it to this episode and you're looking to start playing this game yourself, you probably want to set that setting significantly higher. I think Brian said 400 should get you more like an NFL injury situation. All right, let's take a quick look at our team summary just to see how that is all looking. Team summary. All right. See, I'm not sure if it was the offensive coordinator or the fact that we have this new quarterback. This quarterback, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. If we look at the running game is still not great, but we're averaging a little bit higher than we did last season. We are sitting at 11 fumbles. Now, most of those are from the quarterback. So, yeah, 11 fumbles is not good at this point in the season. But overall, I would say these stats are looking better for us. Our tight end that we drafted last year is actually almost our top receiver so far through 7 games. And you can see this quarterback is really spreading out the ball. I like that. Kremers, 7 games in, is already at 50 tackles. How is Jermaine doing here? He's at 3 sacks. Not as good as last season so far, but still a very good defensive end for us. And you have to remember, now we have all those other defensive ends, so he's also probably not playing as many snaps this year. All right. Once again, I don't think that there's really any need for me to go with a trade at this point. 4-3, I think that we definitely have a chance moving forward. So let's keep it rolling. 5-3. 6-3. Here's our bye week. 6-4. 7-4. We have already gotten better, and we still have a number of weeks to go. Oakland destroyed us. We beat Atlanta. We're 8-5. All right, we have 3 weeks left in the regular season. Let's go and try that playoff probability thing again. And simulate. All right. So we still have a shot at getting a bye. We have a 18% chance. And we have a 70% chance of making playoffs. I'm hoping that this is going to be it, guys. 3 years and hopefully making playoffs. Here we go. 8-6. 8-7. Oh man, hold up. Now I got really hyped, Now we're only at a 36% chance of making it. All right. Dang. From so high to so down. Here we go. Finished 8-8, which means we almost certainly did not make playoffs. But let's take a look here. Yeah, we didn't make it. All right. We'll simulate the rest of the playoffs here. Denver v. Seattle. Denver wins it. Good job, Denver. If I remember correctly, I think Denver was actually one of the other teams that we were potentially looking at in episode 1. I think they were also one of the worst teams. So congrats to them. Let's take a look at our team summary just to get a quick overview here. All right. Quarterback situation. Significantly better than it's been in previous seasons. Running game, better than it was last season. Still struggling, though. Defensively, let's take a look mainly here. Our defensive front is ridiculous. That no team is getting decent rushes on us. Our secondary is struggling a little bit. All right. But we improved again. We went from 3-13 to 6-10. This year we went 8-8. We almost made playoffs. So once again, we are getting better slowly but surely here. Let's take a quick look and see if anybody made the Pro Bowl. Season awards. Our offensive guard made second team. So one player, nobody made first team. So not too much to write home about there. Final thing before I close out this episode, let's just take a quick look at the full standings. We finished 8-8. Oh, look at that. We could have won our division. Our division, we only needed to be 8-8. Damn. Oh well. Which means we're not going to have a great draft pick next year. We're probably going to pick somewhere between like 12 and 18 if I had to guess. So on to another season, you guys. If you've stuck around this long, thanks for joining me. And I will hopefully see you guys for the next episode, and we will hopefully be making playoffs. All right, everybody. Have a good one. AyyScare out.